impact, that did not include any salary increases or anything like that.
It didn't
Only
include
vehicles and
right.
employees.
Commissioner Phillips, two things it didn't include was any raises, and it did not include the benefit for the salaries that I put in there. I just put the base salary, so it did not include the benefits, which I think Ms. Wilson has told me in the past is somewhere between 31 and 35%, I believe. Is that right, please? Thank you.
Well, actually, I like the idea of using the jail for revenue with the federal. How many employees you have to have to?
That's already been taken out of that net return that we'll get of the 1.65 million, but it'll take 10 employees with a relief factor to handle the federal inmate. And that's included in that 58.
Sheriff,
Yes,
a couple of questions. One thing jumped out at me, though, on item 5, you said that transport would increase. I don't understand that.
transport. You remember?
Yeah.
Transport. I'm not talking about outside of jail transport. I'm talking about inside of jail transport.
Why would that increase? These guys never, those 384 never leave the.
The 384 don't, but we've got to get that ratio. We still have to transport the ones that are still going to be in the old facility. Well, we're not going to be able to shut down the old facility.
Well, I know, I certainly don't want to. I mean, we've got to use it forever, but I do think, I mean, I've just said in so many meetings, and I don't know anything about operation of the jail, but, you know, I do understand we can bring the majority over to the new park because it costs less people takes less people to supervise them than if we have to walk down and look in each individual one. Right. And you'll take some of those offline and then bring them online if the population needs them or get the feds. You know, that should help transition in the staffing.
It should. It will help, but it won't completely take the place of that.
Well,
but because of the reason I've said, because of the classification, male to female inmates, the ratio and things of that nature, we're going to get as close as we can, and I agree with you. Well, we open all 384 beds and use that to the best we can.
I would open those, just my suggestion.
Right.
We don't. This court doesn't operate the jail, but unfortunately, I'm just having to live with it.
Well, I think we do need to have good communication on the operation of jail, though, and I'm open for that.
Because my suggestion would be phase out the use of the new one, or the old one, as much as you can, get in the new one, because of transport, supervision, things like that, and then bring the old one back on after we go in and spend some money on some repairs too, because we've got, you know, serious issues in part of the old jail that need to be repaired today, but they're occupied. So.
I agree with 100% of what you just said.
The other thing, would it be possible with this also get an operational like chart of, because people ask me how many supervisors, you know, inmate supervisors we have in downtown jail now, and I don't know, and I've tried to figure that out.
What we did last year, and Judge Baker did in the package, I asked to have all the corporals change to sergeants. That was partially in anticipation of going to this. Now, this year in these 58 employees, I believe all I'm going to ask for is one lieutenant, and the rest of them are going to be just entry-level jailers. I'm not asking for any more supervisors. We've got the number of supervisors we need.
I'm very careful and have tried in the last 5 years not to involve myself in other elected officials' day-to-day work. I've got plenty on my own plate.
I'll take all the help I get.
Well, no, I don't know about any help, but to do a good analysis, an operational chart, so I know how many actual, not bookend, nothing like that, but how many people are actually involved daily, walking the floor, looking at those type of things would help me work back.
I believe Major Former and I can come up with actual, what we call supervisory personnel, inmate supervisors in the jail, as opposed to people that may be doing the pin packets or
we're going to keep those people and add to those anyway.
Oh, we have to.
Yeah.
Jail can't run without them.
Other question, in the budget, that the preliminary budget, I guess, that was sent in on April 30th, does that include some of these suggestions in it? Because, you know, well, the budget that was this year's coming up, 2015.
There's some more that I sent Judge Baker. I misread the 15-page document on the instructions on the budget. When I saw where it said, don't put in the budget capital items, don't put in the budget extra personnel you need, I didn't put it in there. But I should have saw where it said do a Schedule B, a B1, and a Schedule A for any other capital items we need. Now, I did put the capital items needed in the budget, but I do have, in fact, I have it here with me. I emailed some of that to Judge Baker Saturday morning, and I do have 2 copies here that I will leave with him that have all the schedules that are completed.
Well, and sorry to hold the time talking, except I know we've got a lot of people who want to speak, but you know, like, things like the retirement, obviously that affects all the employees
Right.
across the county, and we are on the lower end of that, meaning the audience loved
And
that idea.
salaries.
Yeah, when we did that, but we were $13 million or so 1 year short, you know, the revenues due to expenses because of the downturn in the economy, so it's really tough decisions had to be made.
But if I might point out, I'm not trying to be argumentative whatsoever, but these other 11 counties had the same.
Well, they all have higher
Economy.
taxes.
What's the tax rate?
Yeah, every one of them have higher.
I understand that, and a good tax rate, if it's here, and everything else is equal on that set of scales with the service we're able to provide, I agree with you 100%. But when
I
the
agree.
service we're able to provide is down here and the tax rate's here, it might be time for a tax increase.
Well, that's what, we struggle with, you know.
I appreciate that. As a taxpayer, I appreciate it.
And it's paid dividends, but I can tell you from going to the editorial board meeting that they hammer us every year over the retirement. But not, they pay, what, 2.5?
Again, I'm not trying to be anything other than try to get this done. And I probably shouldn't even say this, but I respect the editorial board, I've been before it, but I'm not gonna run the sheriff's office by reading the Tyler newspaper.
Well, neither do we, but my point is that, and y'all finished? What I would say is that we represent, you know, 216,000 people. And,
So do I.
and, yeah, and we absolutely are, you know, 100% behind the sheriff's department. I mean, I'm fortunate since we've been here, since Mr. Felton and I've been here, we spent about $3.5 million on new offices over there. $500,000 on new, all paid for with cash, you know, new evidence storage room, things like that, and all those things, but they don't help you retain employees.
They don't help me retain employees, they don't help me train them, Commissioner Ward. And my job, if I do my job correctly, is to serve the public and to get these men and women to their job every morning or every evening, whatever they might work. But my biggest job is to get them home at the end of their shift.
That's right. Well, I appreciate that.
You were talking about salaries. In your presentation, you said that we did not implement the second and third years of the salary plan. We, in fact, implemented the first and second years completely. The third year, it was split in half.
Judge, I wasn't here, that's just
Okay.
going on.
And as far as more affordable, on the exit interviews, you said more affordable medical insurance. We pay 100% of the premium for our employees. I understand that the medical, the premiums for families is more expensive.
Right, I don't mean to interrupt you, Judge, but an employee I have at 29,363, and an employee I might have in a command staff that makes maybe 50 or 60,000, that $800 a month they pay for their family is still for both families at a much lower salary. So I'm just saying, I've been there before.
No,
I started off in law enforcement making $735 a month in 1976. I know what they're going through.
Yeah, no, I understand, but our duty is to the employee themselves, not necessarily their dependents. I mean, my family is not on the county insurance. I chose something outside the county's plan, and everybody has that option. So that's, you know, that's, you can debate that all day long, but our duty is to the employees. We have
I realize that,
excellent medical
Judge,
insurance for employees.
but their duty is to their family. Hopefully, it's to God first, their family second, and the county third, I hope. I hope they have those priorities in order. But their priority is to their family, and they can choose to go somewhere else, which they're doing frequently. And I need your help. I'm not up here to be
Well, and that's
adversarial. I'm here to get the help.
I hope, I know the director has looked at and some of his, you know, is trying to increase tax and then this not on the place that it's going to order anybody else in
Right.
the media other than to attract them to keep them walking across the Bonner Street because they are. But I'm amazed that we get so much grief over our tax rate when we have the 17th, 18th largest, you know, I mean, lowest in the state. And there is a trade-off. And, you know, when the city or the president may 2.5 or 2,
Right.
you know, on retirement, we do have to compete to hold those law enforcement officers.
Right.
I hope it's our clerks or whatever else.
I just lost a detective, that's been a detective for a couple of years at Tyler Police Department. He's a detective with me, and he goes to work as a rookie police officer with Tyler, making more money than he is here. You know, and I know, I understand, we didn't get in this condition overnight, it's not gonna happen overnight, and what I'm submitting to you today is something I think we just need to start going in the right direction over 2-3 year period. but at least start moving to the right direction, is all I'm saying. I'm not saying, I'm not so naive to think that I can come up here and y'all can do every bit of this in 1 year. I understand that. But I'm just looking at the long term, but let's get started in the right direction is what I'm asking.
Well, I do think we owe it to the people to protect our lives, liberty, and property. We need to look at that. You know, one of my favorite movies for A Few Good Men, you know, Colonel Jess's favorite line is, you gotta have these people on that wall. We gotta have these people in those positions.
Another favorite line is, you can't handle the truth.
About making our decisions, we have to consider all of our employees.
You're not going to put you on the spot, Commissioner Hampton, but can I ask you a question, still? How many of the other employees have to wear bulletproof vests to work?
Sheriff, these people may have to wear bulletproof vests to work. Those other people work for the county as well.
I
Our
realize
county
that.
employees are our best assets.
I realize
So we
that.
have to do whatever we do for one, for all.
I disagree with that respectfully.
That's okay.
Well, I would go along with what she said just a little bit. I was talking about the clerks and stuff, salaries and everything. He was talking about, you know, well, in jail, and what they did with the jail and all that. Well, you know, the district clerk, the county clerks do the same thing. They have clerks. If they do something improper, they can have somebody arrested and put in jail. So I would say that if we look at those clerk positions, we have to look at everybody, not just the sheriff.
I agree with that to a point, Commissioner, but one thing I don't see, at 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, Saturday, Sunday, weekends, holidays, I hadn't seen a district clerk up there working.
No,
All
no,
these people are out there working on those days.
No,
I don't think you can compare, I don't think it's apples to apples.
but they have put people in jail that shouldn't have been in jail, had them lawsuits, you know.
I agree,
did
I agree.
Something improper, you know.
I'm here to represent the sheriff's office.
I understand, but we have to look at it as a whole to, you know, for everybody. And that's one question I had, I took some notes here that, the road and bridge, I don't understand necessarily why we're paying, I wasn't on the salary committee or whatever, why we're paying, road and bridge guys, detention officers more than we're paying your detention officers. I don't understand that, and, there was another question that you had a medical, you said you needed one position for your medical or whatever. I thought you were gonna train your, medical staff to be jailers, so we wouldn't have to have the.
Commissioner Hampton and I just talked about that yesterday. I'm open to any suggestions, but one thing I will say is that if you have one nurse in there, and that nurse is called to a floor, you still can't leave. If you got 2 or 3 patients in that infirmary, you still can't leave it unattended. You still have to have another employee. And all I'm saying is we need one employee in there, not more than one. But I'm completely open to communication, with whatever we can come together as a group. And of course, I know we've got to do it 2 at a time, but, or if we can have another session advertised for it.
Actually, Sheriff, all you need to do is talk to the man in the center.
Uh-huh.
And once he puts it all together, we will look at it.
Okay.
We will see it.
Thank you.
All right. We have
Thank
an
you.
interview scheduled, thank you, Sheriff. We have an interview scheduled right now, but let's take up the public comments related to the sheriff's budget. We have several, and